Thank you so much for joining us once again. Happy Sabbath, or shall we say Holy Sabbath. As we've seen from our studies, the Sabbath is holy and pure. It is because of the Sabbath being holy that it is happy. It's the holiness of God that fills the joy in our hearts. And so we are in Genesis chapter 11. Our title is The Genesis of All Languages. Verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. For a time the descendants of Noah continued to dwell among the mountains where the ark had rested, the mountains of Ararat, they are called. As the numbers increased, apostasy soon led to division. Those who desired to forget their Creator and to cast off the restraint of His law felt a constant annoyance from the teaching and example of their God-fearing associates. And after a time, they decided to separate from the worshippers of God. And they said one to another, "Go to, let us make brick and burn them thoroughly." And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, "Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth." The dwellers of the plain of Shinar disbelieved God's covenant that He would not again bring a flood upon the earth. Many of them denied the existence of God and attributed the flood to the operation of natural causes. Others believed in a supreme being and that it was He who had destroyed the antediluvian world, and their hearts, like that of Cain, rose up in rebellion against Him. One object before them in building the tower was simply to secure their own safety in case another flood would come upon this earth. And this is where God descends and confuses the languages of the world. Hitherto, the whole world had one language, but God comes down. It says in verse 5, "And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do." Right there, a very powerful lesson. God Himself descends to see what the children of men are doing. See, they had unity. They had one language, they had one common idea, they had one purpose, one intention. And God says, this they begin to do, now nothing will be restrained from them. God is testifying to the power of unity and oneness. If we are one, God says, nothing will be impossible from us. I didn't say that. This is what God is saying in this text. And so unity is very important. "Go to, let us go down," God says, "and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech." So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. And that's how God dissolves this, confuses the languages, and that's how every language today was created. So God, in doing this, He wanted so that to diffuse this rebellion against Him. And I'm going to read something here. It says, "This confederacy, the confederacy of rebellion, was born of rebellion against God. The dwellers of the plain of Shinar established their kingdom for self-exaltation, not for the glory of God. Had they succeeded, a mighty power would have borne sway, banishing righteousness and inaugurating a new rebellion. The world would have been demoralized. The mixture of religious ideas with erroneous theories would have resulted in the closing door to peace, happiness, and security. These suppositions, erroneous theories, carried out and perfected, would have directed minds from the allegiance of the divine statutes and the law of Jehovah. And the law of Jehovah would have been ignored and forgotten. Determined men, inspired and urged on by the first great rebel, would have resisted any interference with the plans or their evil course. So basically, God intervenes when man wants to come together against him. And we are told in the scriptures that another confederacy, another unity will be attempted to unite the whole world and have their own system, the new world order, as it were, their own system of worship, their own system of doing things. And God will intervene, confound the languages, and create a new heaven and a new world. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you learned something from Genesis chapter 11, God confusing the languages, and hope to see you tomorrow as we continue to study and to journey through the Bible.